And we are live. Sorry, you guys, for a little bit of the delay. We're both like the least punctual people in the world. Keri, thank you so much for coming on my chat. I can't believe you've actually never been on my channel before, which is crazy.
I know. Actually, when we realized that, it was kind of surprising to me. I just felt like I already had been.
I know. Well, because okay, so for you guys who don't know, Keri is the most amazing co-host of Unsafe Space. I have all the links below, so you guys can please go subscribe to Unsafe Space. I mean, what are you doing watching my channel and not Unsafe Space? But so yeah, what was my point in that? I forgot. Oh yeah, I am your most frequent guest.
You are. I believe you've been on 7 times now or more.
I'm coming for 8.
Yeah, something crazy.
Also, I should tell you guys, my hair is wet, so I'm kind of gonna be like battling the battle of hair for this entire time. Blah.
That's okay. This little guy is too. This is Teddy.
Aw. See, yeah. I gotta Keri's in Texas, so I'm planning a trip out there to go see her.
I would love for you to come see me. Especially after talking with you last night, and for what we're going to talk about today, for anyone who doesn't know, sorry if I'm stepping on your toes.
No.
I'm so used to doing
I know. You're like a better host than I am.
No. Mikey and I were having a conversation last night, and
were we ever?
I was like, why don't we just do it live? Because I know so many. We'll do it live because I know so many people who've been struggling with the same things or worried about the same things. And so I felt like, yeah, let's just have this conversation where maybe other people can weigh in and talk about what they've done. There's a lot of people I know who said they're going to be in chat who have been really inspirational to me.
Yeah, we have a good turnout. And by the way, I should say, hi, everyone. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Leah. Hi, Juana, Maddie. Like all our favorite, Tatiana, all our favorite people are here. This is great. I hope I'm not missing anyone looking through it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. So yeah, where to even begin?
Well, I'm tempted to interview you and ask you.
So I basically had a breakdown last night on the phone with Keri.
A little bit. That's a normal. People
thank you. Keri is like the best friend ever. You guys should know. And I guess so. Yeah, I don't know how we get into talking about shit, but
well, you were telling me you were had another one of these not mishap. It's not the right word, but disappointing encounters with someone who you were interested in.
And I feel like it's not even about that because like I've been struggling with this shit for a while, and I think that there are so many people out there, especially people who have a lot of money and you know, like the Talking Point USA types that just kind of like tell people what they want to hear and rake in the cash. But I feel for people like us, it's different because we never sought this path out. It sort of found us.
But yeah. So, well, that encounter that you had, or the person you were, talking to, we started talking about losing relationships. And so I don't know if you want to tell people like a little bit about what it's been like for you now that you're an outspoken wrong thinker.
I don't know. And by the way, I should say before we like begin, I would really want to hear from you guys and stuff. So I guess we'll just like talk a little bit and then we'll get to the chats because we want to hear what you guys have to say also. And yeah, I think I've just kind of been feeling lately like, is this worth it? Is this what I should be doing? And I think there's so many times that I was just ready to throw in the towel because this just, first of all, it seems, okay, oh my God, there's so much to talk about. So first of all, the conformity is worse than it's ever been. The virtue signaling is worse than it's ever been. Oh, hi, Tatiana. Thank you so much. We have a super chat. Love you both lots. Just saying, keep speaking the truth always, no matter what. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's so sweet of you. But yeah, I think like the past couple of weeks, the conformity is worse than it's ever been. I know so many people. I know so many people who have told me in private that they don't believe any of this shit. They don't mean any of it. And then they just post the same virtue signaling far left Facebook stuff as everyone else.
But privately they tell you
they're voting for Trump and which by the way, I am so sick of like, I think if you would total up the entire amount of time that I've talked about Trump on this channel, it would maybe be 5 minutes at the most. And I'm so sick of these people who hate him that like, their lives are run by Trump. It's all they talk about. They're the first ones to bring it up. It's just all Trump all the time. I'm personally not all that interested in talking about Trump all the time. There are other issues in the world. There are things that predated him and will post-date him.
Right.
And I don't get it that you hate someone, but you're also so fixated on them that it's all you talk about. I don't get
that. And it's also how they write you off. I mean, what you were saying last night about being seen as a Trump person. I mean,
I didn't even vote for him.
Yeah, I didn't either, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Which is something that I've always that's sort of been my mantra of the past year that I will remind myself, is that even before I started talking about politics, just that I wrote a series that we were pitching and stuff, and I got letters about it. I got letters from people. It was offensive. I had to water everything down. So I try to remember, and especially towards the end of my time being surrounded by these like SJWs, they would find offense in things that would never occur to you, even like the most innocuous things. So I just try to remind myself that, you know, even when I was a kid and was in school, it used to be, you can't wear that, you can't dress like that, you can't look like that, you can't do that. And now it's just, you can't think that, you can't say that.
Conformity is conformity.
Yeah, so I just don't think that I would have ever been able to walk that line no matter what, even if I never spoke a word about politics.
No. Well, that also is, you know, you saying, is it worth it or not? I can't imagine you trying to contain who you are. One of the reasons why I think people like watching your videos and following your feed is because you're so authentic and you're just yourself. And that you can't, you know, would you go back? Would you, if you could go back and say, I'm not going to say anything that offends the SJW crowd?
No, I couldn't even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it just, I think, I don't know if I would have, I don't know, because I had no clue back then that just saying the most common sense, simple things. What do you mean there are 97 genders? What do you mean all these things? That's not true. What do you, like the most simple things, just stating facts even. If you try to bring up any statistics, God forbid. And that would be such a heinous thing to do, apparently.
Yeah.
But
well, hey, I want to get back to something you said. So you said things, the conformity is worse now. And if anyone's watching who's experiencing this, my inbox is full. I don't know about yours. My inbox is full of people who are writing to me about their children or about their friends' children, who people who are now telling them it's time to have the difficult conversation. But what they're really doing, they're pushing. It's almost like sleeper cell SJWs. We've always had the ones who were really loud and outspoken and ideologues and very like fundamentalists almost. You have to believe this or you're wrong. We've known those people. That's why we talk about this belief system. But now there were a lot of people who I think just casually accepted some of the tenets of the belief system, maybe, but didn't talk about it a lot. Yeah. Or the people that you're talking about, the people who don't even agree with it, but are afraid. And so those people are all being pressured now to show their allegiance. They have to post the same things. They have to do Blackout Tuesday. They have to post the same hashtags, and they've been told to go to their friends and family and to start the difficult conversation. I put that in air quotes because it's not a conversation, it's a preaching too. But that is happening. So if you guys have noticed that, and if anybody wants to weigh in on that, like I keep hearing from people who are being confronted now by people who were never seemingly very radical in the past. It's almost like now is the time you have to show if you're with us or not, and that's what they're being asked to do.
Yeah, and I think you know, I don't know, I don't know if I would have made this choice if I knew what it would entail, you know, just being perfectly honest. I feel like in this conversation we might sort of be like different sides of it, that I'm questioning things, and Keri is very much like, yes, it's worth it, do it, which I love. I want to get to that point, but
we can disagree.
Good. No, I want to have your attitude. You know, I sometimes pretend to have your attitude, but of just being like, oh yeah, I don't care. It's great. It's wonderful. And I really don't want to discourage anybody from, well, we'll get into that. But I think, I don't know, just looking back over everything, having lost every friend I've ever had in my entire life. And you know what I really have I have so little respect for. It's one thing the people who these SJWs that it's their beliefs, they think they believe in something and it's their own beliefs, the ones who stopped being friends with me years ago. But
Right.
what I really have no respect for are the people who had no problem with my views for 3, 4, 5 years. And then the moment that other people started listening to me, suddenly there's a problem, because now there's no hiding it. There's no, oh, at parties and stuff, their friends will know. And it's all about social pressure, and all their friends will just be like, how could you be friends with that person? So
Right.
that's just what I have no respect for.
Do you think
Christian.
it's a little? Do you think it's a little bit more? Oh, were you calling someone out by name?
Yes, Christian.
Okay. Do you think it's a little more? Is the pressure? Is there more pressure to conform in gay circles than there is
It's worse
outside
than
of
anything. It's worse than anything. I mean, there's no group of people on this earth who are as, it's not just as brainwashed, but it's as tightly controlled. It's, I don't know.
Because your dating experiences make me think that, and I could be wrong, but it makes me think that.
No, of course. That's so. I actually, one of our people, someone got pissed at me like a week or two ago because I said, I think that the consequences and the price we pay is a lot worse if you're a minority, if you're Black, if you're gay, if you're transgender. And he was like, well, hey, I'm a straight white male and I've lost this and I've lost that. And which is true. I totally don't want to diminish that. But I also do think because it bothers me that I just know so many people who are just like straight guys, white guys, and they can think whatever they want. I mean, I'm sure they've gotten pushback and stuff, but it's a different level, I think.
Yeah, I don't even think it's necessary to do some kind of worse or better than I think what you're saying is that it's just different. It's different because like someone said in the comments of your post, he said, I don't have to worry about as much because they already hate me because I'm a straight white Christian man. But you are their chattel, like they own you. And so
they never liked me even when I was a liberal though, like that's the thing. I don't know. It's like they're told this. Oh, sorry. I think we missed a super chat. Grady, thank you so much. You're the best, Grady. Also, I need to read your email. I should say, I'm so sorry. I was getting so many lovely messages and comments today, and I just like got busy with doing some shopping and stuff, but I'm gonna get back to all you guys tonight. But sorry, I lost track. What were we saying?
That it's different because for people who are in, they claim to speak on behalf of marginalized groups, right? Yeah. So, and the ideology, they falsely claim that it benefits people who are in these so-called marginalized identity groups.
It doesn't.
So when, and it doesn't.
I mean, that's the thing is like,
but when you're a person who doesn't, but just finish that thought, when you're a person like yourself who checks off a marginalized box, and then you don't let them speak for you. And not only that, you actively speak against what they're saying. They can't stand it. They have to come up with unique reasons. They have to do a lot of mental gymnastics to explain why you're not saying what they have been telling everyone marginalized people think.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying too is that I felt like even when I was your generic typical liberal Democrat, the alphabet people and the gay community, which I hate that word even, community, but I don't know what else to say, paints this picture of themselves as being so accepting and welcoming and love and hope and all that bullshit. And for 90% of the time from when I came out until the past couple of years that I wasn't leftist Democrat anymore, that wasn't my experience at all. It's funny because now through Walkaway and through YouTube and all these things, this is kind of the first time in my life that I actually have a lot of gay friends. But before that, I never did. I just always really had a lot of difficulty getting along with them because I just always find them to be so judgmental and so catty and so they're just like friggin' high school mean girls.
Maybe that is, could that be a function of being in New York?
Oh, definitely. I'm sure it's worse here.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've only ever lived here, so I don't have anything to compare it to. So yeah, maybe it is different. I was looking at flights today to go see you, but
yes, because I lived in New York just for like a year and a half, and it reminded me.
We knew each other then.
A lot, and I wish we'd known each other then too. It reminded me a lot of Los Angeles in some ways, where I lived for 15 years. in that it's a real echo chamber of thought. And so everyone there has sort of bought into the same beliefs, and the conformity that happens in those cities is a lot of it is SJW conformity. And I just think you'd probably have a different experience outside of the city, because I don't think that's just a question I have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a question I have too. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I sort of feel like I've put myself between a rock and a hard place, because there's no way I can, like, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Even if, which I'm not quitting this. I'm not giving up. Just letting everyone know that. But I do want to sometimes. But I couldn't, even if I wanted to. I mean, I will never bow to these people. I will never get on my goddamn knees. I will never say what they want me to say. But I do sort of feel that duality sometimes of I'm definitely not leftist enough to be embraced by leftists, and I'm not conservative enough to really be one of these like hardcore Republican half the time I spend talking about Republicans is talking shit about them because I want them to improve.
This is true. I've heard you. And yet you get called a right-winger.
Which is funny, because, and that's what I think too, is that if these people really cared about the things that they claim to, wouldn't they sort of support what I'm doing? Because we all deserve to have a choice in who we vote for, in theory, not according to them. But one of my big complaints against Republicans is that they've ignored so many groups of people for years: gay people and black people and city people even. So that's a big thing that I'm trying to change. Shouldn't that be a good thing? If they really cared about everyone coming to the table and
we know
equality, and no,
they don't want a choice.
It's all about power.
They don't want a choice between two parties, and I think truly they don't believe in the idea that of like yin and yang, that things can complement one another. The way that Jordan Peterson talks about conservatives and liberals ideally need each other. Liberals tend to be more higher in openness and agreeableness, but they tend to be more creative types coming up with ideas, and then conservatives tend to be a bit more conscientious and have a greater work ethic. And so he's like, that's why you see liberals come up with ideas and conservatives help them they actually run the company for them, because it's, the two things work together well. And that's ideally that's the way, it would work in government and politics as well. But the thing with the part of the left that I was on is that they don't believe in that. They don't believe in complementary, differing opinions. They don't believe in the idea of steel sharpening steel, of someone of another belief helping you strengthen yours or discard it if it's bad or faulty. They actually just believe this is the one true belief system. Everyone must come here. There's no value to having this other party or other beliefs. Yeah. So,
and yet everywhere where those beliefs are put into practice is a mess. No, and I feel the same way, because I think back when I was growing up, I think things were too conservative, and I'd say conservative in the worst sense of that. Like George W. Bush and neocons and corporatists, and they weren't too great to gay people and all that. So back then, I think we needed more liberalism. Today, things are way the fuck too leftist that we need more conservatism. So if things were to switch back and suddenly, it's way too conservative, then I would be advocating for more liberalism. I think we need a healthy balance.
What they don't seem to understand is that if you're like me, and I think you are on this point, I'm against authoritarianism.
Yes.
So if it were coming from the right, I would be speaking just as passionately against it as I am authoritarianism coming from the left. It just so happens that it's coming from the left right now. That's what's dominant in our culture. And so, but this goes back to the whole, like, they place too much value in the difference between conservative and liberal, when what's really important in the times that we're living in right now is whether you're an authoritarian or not. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. That's more important to me. But hey, so I want to get back to the
1 second before you do. Sorry, don't forget that. We have a super chat. Yeah. Jen, thank you so much. Your live show with Livia yesterday was fantastic. Oh, thank you. Today's too. We need you to speak the truth. Republicans need to be called out. you. And please keep doing so, sharing you with those who will listen. Thank you so much, Jen. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. Because yeah, I just feel like I give everyone a reason to hate me. It's like I'm unpopular with all groups. But
you do realize though, you've got that negative voice in your head right now. A lot of us have that negative voice in our head that's telling you I'm unpopular with people, or everyone hates me, or what. Like that voice doesn't. It's not a good voice to listen to, and it goes away if you stop listening to it. Gosh, what's that book?
Just
The Untethered Soul, I think, is the book. He basically wrote about some of the same stuff that Eckhart Tolle wrote about, but he called that negative voice. He said if it were a roommate, you would kick him out. You wouldn't want to live with somebody who talks to you that way, right? So
no, but it's just, I think it's like, okay, so like maybe 10, 20 years ago, before that, people would talk about how when you're gay, you have to continually be coming out to people. I think at this point now, we've sort of gotten past that.
Mhm.
I don't think people don't usually come out to me. They're either gay or they're not, just
Right.
accepted. But this is
this is similar.
This is what that is now. Is that, God, sorry, my hair is pissing me the God.
It looks good.
Thank you.
Like
yeah, that's what this is now, is that it's really frustrating that, I'll go out with a group of people and I'll meet new people and they like me and we get along. And then as soon as they add me on social media, block, done. They're screaming at me. I'm getting angry messages. And so it just feels like it never ends. And I think too, because, sorry, let me get to a super chat first.
Okay.
Matty H, you're one of my favorites. I love you. He's so fucking funny.
Look in the chat a little more.
The left, well, you just in general, he's hilarious. The left has gone from the right is incorrect to the right is evil. You can work with incorrect, but evil exists only to be defeated. Yes, that's a good point. People who I disagree with them. They think I'm a monster, and that's what bothers me so much too. Is that like I would never, ever, ever judge somebody for being a social justice or being a leftist. Be whatever you want to be, think whatever you want to think. The only thing I want is to then not be judged in the same way. So I don't know why that's so controversial. Don't judge me, I won't judge you.
Because their belief system is built on judging you. It doesn't allow room for differing opinion. So oh gosh, somebody just shared a meme from The Matrix where it was somebody was saying, Morpheus, not everyone believes what you believe, and he said, my beliefs don't require them to. Like that's your beliefs don't require them to believe what you do, but their beliefs do.
But then that's
they are a fundamentalist cult. Like that's what this is.
Yeah.
So they don't have. There's no room. It's no different from. In this way, it's no different from radical Islam, in that there's the one true faith, and
Scientology.
Believe, yeah, it's
because this is what all cults do, is they disconnect you. In Scientology, they call it disconnection, that they cut you off from your friends, your family, your kids, your parents. They rip families apart, they rip friends apart, and that's certainly been my experience over the past couple of years. I think that, we have a super chat. Let me get to that first. Where is it? Marion, thank you so much, Marion. Stay positive, she said. Thank you so much. You're the best. She's such a great person.
So I want to say something to you.
Sorry, can I just, oh, you go on.
Well, if you were talking about if you couldn't do this, or if you could go back, right? The way I see, and then you said, but you could never be silent about, you can never take the knee, you can never bow or any of that. Well, the only other option I would see is then taking either a permanent break or a temporary break, like going off into the woods and raising chickens, or pulling a Walden. And I think there's actually a lot of value to that for people.
Maybe for a week or something. But
just kind of getting away from it for a while. We talked about this on Unsafe Space the other day, where it's, I had some people saying, I just need to unplug from social media for a while. And I totally understand that. And I think people need to do that, because if you're constantly pushing back against, like, one of my goals is to talk about what my old belief system was. But if that's all I did, then I would be oriented in an oppositional direction constantly. I would be opposing something constantly. You have to be creating something. Otherwise you become just like they are. All they do is destroy. They're in opposition all the time. You have to create as well. And I think creating means you have to take breaks from opposing, and you have to like figure out what it is you want to create and start doing that and building that in your downtime.
Well, that's, I think, another part of it is that, you know, I remember when I was a kid, I remember when I was in kindergarten, even high school, that, you know, the elementary school I went to and also the high school I went to were very racially diverse. It was probably like 50-50 black, white in Manhattan. And everyone just got along. There was none of that. I mean, I'm sure maybe some of them had issues in their own lives, whatever, but there weren't these constant racial tensions. Because, you know, when I was in kindergarten, the teacher cracked open a white egg and cracked open a brown egg. And look, we're all the same on the inside. What happened to that?
They would never be able to do that today.
No, it'd be the white. We were saying this on Unsafe Space the other day. Oh, the white egg is rotten.
Yeah.
But my point is that where are things better off because of this? Because so far what we've gotten from this are the worst racial animosity in our lifetimes. Men and women are at each other's throats. LGBT people are angrier and more bitter than they've ever been. They seemingly don't realize that they're living in the freest and easiest time in human history to be LGBT, and they're more angry than they ever were. So if this ideology is not doing anything that is positive, is not helping anyone, is not advancing anyone, is not bringing anyone together or anything forward, then I don't understand why it's so taboo to say, okay, this approach isn't working. Maybe we need a different approach.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the position. I remember saying things like that when I first started leaving my belief system, because I was still plugged in. I was still in SJW, and it was a slow transition. And I was an idealist. I believed in the purpose, right? I believed this was really an ideology about ending racism and sexism, which it's not. Same. It's about pushing those things. But when I started to wake up from it, I was asking those kind of innocent questions of like, don't we want to understand why Trump really won so we can win next time? That was a taboo question. I didn't know it because I wasn't supposed to find the real answer. It was simply, you repeat what they're telling you. It's because of racism, or it's because of sexism. It's because of racism, period. I'm like, I don't actually think that's why he won. Can we figure out why he won so we can like
8 million Obama voters switched to Trump. Right? In 2016, you know. By the way, sorry, I just want to before I forget, get to super chats. Kelvin, thank you so much. He says activism is addictive. All feelings are amplified. Oh, that's true. Let me get to the next one.
Oh, Jeanette. Hi, Jeanette.
Wait, I gotta catch up. How do you say your name? Ecce Homer? Esse? In Italian, it's Ecce. So I'm gonna go with that.
I know him. That's and I always mispronounce it on Unsafe Space.
Ecce? No, probably not. That's what it would be in Italian. Tell us how to say your name. He says, Mike, you're not a monster, but you are a beast. Keep being you. The love is global.
You are a beast.
Thank you. Wait, I think, do we have one more? No, that was it for now. I think okay, so I think I don't know.
Wombat is here too.
Who's that?
Wombat is here. Hi, Wombat.
Hey, Wombat. Sorry, I'm sort of bad at like talking and listening and looking at the chat. So I figure we'll talk for a little bit more and then we'll get to more chats. But yeah, I don't know. I've just I don't know.
So why? Let me ask you this: why are you in this? Why are you?
I don't know.
You don't know anymore?
No, I do. Honestly, there's literally only one reason.
Why?
One reason, and that's it. Because it's wrong. Because what they do, what they think, what they believe, what they are pushing is fucking wrong.
That's
and that feeling in me is too strong for anything else to matter. But I wish it did. And I don't know, at a certain point, I just feel like I've ruined my life. I can never live a normal life now. I can never go back to anything. I'm blacklisted from every possible employment. Even like there's like one casting company in New York that does films and stuff, and I used to work with them all the time. Blacklisted. So I just, I don't know.
Mikey, I know you maybe can't see it today, but you have not ruined your life. I know what you mean by that. You've sacrificed opportunities, and you've made sacrifices in the job world, excuse me, in the dating world. And, but I remain confident that you're going to get back to that point of, if you know what your reason is for speaking, that purpose hasn't changed, you know? And
yeah, I think that, I don't know, like I said, just losing every friend I ever had and stuff. And like, I don't know. So basically a couple weeks ago I got doxxed that, I think I know who did it, but, so now my address is on Google, my phone number is on Google, my everything. So that's the problem I've been having, because so this is always my struggle when I meet someone, like a guy, or even if it's just friends, but obviously more so if it's any sort of dating thing. I'm not a dishonest person, and you guys know me. I overshare everything. I word vomit anything. I am literally incapable of keeping my shit to myself, so I'm just always caught,
which is adorable. Go ahead.
I'm just always caught with this decision of, I mean, I don't want them to find out who I am. I have no reason to be talking politics with them before a first date or on a first date. But the thing is that there's a follow-up question for everything. So if it's, what do you do? I'm a writer. What do you write? If I have a YouTube channel, what's your YouTube? If it, no matter what you say, there's a follow-up question that will lead into it, no matter what. So it's like, do I just lie and say, oh yeah, I'm a flight attendant? Do I? And it just sucks, that feeling. And I've just, especially towards the end of my time where I was surrounded by SJWs, like, I just remember that feeling where you're in a group of like 10 people and they're talking about politics, all say, and they all have the same opinion. And it is literally the same feeling as being closeted. Like, oh, if they knew who I really was, they would hate me. And they will, and they would ask me to leave. And so just having to sit there and bite my tongue so hard that it's bloody. So the thing is now, so I used to be able to, at least to a certain point, hopefully they wouldn't find out who I am. But now that after I got doxxed, they can just Google my phone number and find out everything about me. So yeah, this is the stupidest thing. This is so stupid. It's so stupid for me to even, because like, so there was this guy that I was interested in, and it was like, we didn't even go out or anything. It's so stupid. I don't know why. I think I was already feeling this way, and it just sort of, I guess because it's very rare for me, and it had been maybe a year at least since I like spoke to somebody and was like so excited to see them and really liked them and all that. So we were just kind of like talking, texting back and forth all the time. And so the thing is, he said to me, I forget how it came up, but he texted me and said, which I feel stupid repeating this, I'm just saying it to show you how ridiculous, but he was like, oh, I think you're beautiful and funny and smart, and who cares if we have different political views? And when he sent that to me, I swear to God, I was about to cry, because it was just like, oh my God, what a relief. And then 2 texts later, unless you're a Trump supporter, in which case now is where we part ways. And the thing is, I didn't even vote for Trump. Oh, and then he goes, oh, if you're a Proud Boy, which I don't even really know what the fuck they are.
They think they're so
it has nothing to do with me.
But they're not. They're very closed-minded.
But it's like they won't even... It's the same reason that the people who protest our events will never actually come inside. When we practically beg them, come inside. There's a Q&A. It's a dialogue. Make your voice heard. They won't, because if he were to meet me, or if the protester were to come to our event and they would see that we're not monsters, we're not Nazis, we're not racist, we're not horrible people, then that would mean that there are other opinions in the world other than theirs.
Yeah. It's too scary for them.
And so this guy, of course, was just like, I found your YouTube and I can't have any of this. So.
I think here's what I said.
I was just so mad at myself that because when he said that about like, who cares if we have different politics, but
that's not
let my guard down slightly.
That's
and
not what
I
it really meant.
It's just the shittiest feeling when you're like, God, if I kept my mouth shut, if I said the slightest thing differently, this would have had a totally different outcome.
But why would you have wanted that outcome? Okay, here's me being a little boot camp for a second.
By the way, I should say this is not like what the stream was about, so I don't know why I'm talking about this.
No,
like, so, sorry,
anybody
but go on.
Because you are authentic and you are open and you're sharing this, and there are people going through this with family members, with friends, maybe with people they're dating, who knows. So here's the thing: if somebody shows you they're a coward early on, they've saved you the emotional investment and the time and the effort, and they've saved you all of that trouble. They let you know early. How much worse would it be to get way down the road with someone? I know someone who just ended a 20-year friendship.
Jesus.
And because
15 years for me, someone ended.
Yeah, because
Andrea.
that person is too afraid to be associated with them anymore because they speak.
That's what it's all about. It's that their friends will say, "Oh my God, how do you know that person?" Now I'm not going to speak to you if you know that person. It's just so. That's what this is literally what cults do, and I don't know.
But you deserve. I would say this: you deserve to surround yourself with people who are brave, and one of the things about you, I know about you, is that you have a very big heart and you love very big, and I love very big. And sometimes that can be, why are you doing that face?
I
think
don't.
you love very big. Yes, you do. But sometimes that can be, you need to guard that a little more, because you can not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a great thing. It's just that for people who have a big heart, sometimes the letdown is much harder when you realize that other people's hearts aren't that big, or that they're not open-minded, or that they're not, it makes you almost disappointed in humanity in general, right?
Yeah.
To learn that. But there are lots of people like that. And you, like, because you need to be, I was to put it this way, I wish you could be more select. We both need to be more selective with people who are around us, and surround ourselves with brave people and people who admire what you're doing, and who respect it, and who are not afraid.
It's just so frustrating though that it's like they can't meet you, they can't have coffee, can't anything. It's just so ridiculous, because I would just never, I could not care less how far left somebody. I just never judge people like that. But and then they think they're the good people, and they're the open-minded ones, and they're the tolerant ones, and it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But and I said that, I was like, what is the harm in having dinner and finding out that maybe your assumptions were wrong?
Right. He's too chicken.
Yeah.
There are a lot of chickens.
Which, it's not even like I said, this is the stupidest thing. I didn't know this guy or anything. I think it was just like it was just sort of the final straw for me, of I was already so frustrated with shit, and
right, and you've just been permanently banned from Twitter again.
Yeah, I'm banned from Twitter now. That's another thing, is these people, they're so powerful. They control everything. All week I'm getting their talking points fed to me in my email from Chipotle and from Uber and from Amazon, where black people are being hunted stuff, and it's just so ridiculous.
They're building a narrative right now of fear. They've been
yes, that's what I saw. Juana, I saw you said that in the chat, and that's so spot on, where she said, sorry, by the way, that parents turning on children, and that's this is communism, this is cultural communism. And that, I get every day, I get emails from people, my kids stopped speaking to me, my parents stopped speaking to me. And the thing is, with me, at least, I don't know about you guys, but with me, nobody can ever tell me what it is that I'm saying or what I believe that is so terrible. Nobody can tell me. Twitter can't tell me. I got an email from Twitter yesterday, we won't give you a reason why. Multiple rules. Give me one. Forget multiple. Give me one. No one can do it.
Yeah.
Sorry. One sec. I think I missed a bunch of super chats. So let me catch up with them. La la la. Jeanette, was Jeanette the last one?
Yeah, Jeanette is the last one. A lot of people in chat.
Oh, thank you guys. Jeanette. Wow. Oh, cool. Whoa, that's how you put that on there. Jeanette, hang in there, Mike. There are a lot of us that love you and need your unique voice, as well as your yummy recipes. Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, your yummy recipes. Thank you, Jeanette, for bringing that up. That's exactly what I mean. People have to take time from, if you are, as Carter on Unsafe Space likes to say, we are in the middle of a culture war, and you may not be playing a part in it. But if you are playing a part in it, you have to take time off. And one of the things you create that you're really good at is cooking. I know it sounds cheesy and hippy dippy, but it's really important. It's like, I made this analogy the other day. Think about going to the gym. You have to, the time in between, the resting period in between weightlifting is just as important as the time spent lifting weights. Your muscles have to repair themselves. So the more that I think you can, whether it's a sabbatical or just stepping away a little more often, or, so that it's not the whole, it's not consuming. And yes, let me make this point too. Something you just said about how you feel like it's everywhere right now. It is. I got Spotify's putting up playlists for me, Black Lives Matter playlists. I'm like, thank you, Spotify. Like, okay. It is everywhere right now. All of the companies are virtue signaling. It does feel a little bit like this ideology has become so omnipresent and so powerful that some days it's demoralizing.
It's insurmountable.
Yes, it does feel that way.
Let me just get to the other super chats real quick. Hi, Terrell. Hi, Kevin. Ti amo anche. Carlin. Hi, Carlin. I love you.
Hey, Dr. K.
I 100% understand what you mean when you say you feel like you've ruined your career. She knows. I sometimes feel that way too. It's hard. Yeah, especially with what you do, Carlin, because what's that? Because you know, you're in the same field that you were in before. Tatiana, hey Tatiana, thank you. You made sacrifices for the most noble of causes. Remember, history will reveal it all later on. When you don't kneel for the right reason, for the truth, for liberty, you will be remembered fondly, Mike. Thank you. I mean, I'm still alive, but that's the thing. I don't know that I feel like it's the most noble of. I'm like, what? I'm some screaming lippy bitch on the internet, like.
Well, it is speaking what you believe to be true, and I think that's the most that anybody can do. And unfortunately, a lot of people, and myself included, in the past, I didn't speak what I believed to be true. And even when my beliefs started changing and I started realizing what a web of lies my old belief system was, I was afraid for a good at least 6 months before I started speaking. It took me that long to get over the fear.
See, I just never had that ability to like not to shut up or like control. I have no control over my mouth. It just moves on its own.
We have people in the chat who I know, one in particular, I think he's here.
Let me just real quick.
Yeah,
sorry, just get to the super chats. Grady,
yeah.
Hi. You stood up against a force for what you believe. That force felt threatened because of your influence. It's why you're attacked, because who you influence. Mm-hmm. Thank you. God, you guys are so nice. Like, stop saying nice things about me. I didn't intend for this to be like the people say nice things about me.
When somebody pays you a compliment, you just say thank you.
Miles said, hey, Mikey, it's not over. This is just the beginning. I remember reading part of your script, Cigarettes and Valentines. Interesting reading. Please continue. Your voice people want to hear, rooting for you to win. Thank you, Miles. I should say we've been having a lot of meetings about that, and that's like something that I'm really going to, that's a big priority, is getting that done. We're hopefully going to be shooting this summer, but who the hell knows now. But focusing on that and my production company and stuff, you know, so at least that's like another side of it. Sorry, I think we have one more that I missed somewhere. Maddie, who I love. There's hope out there. One of the people I hold close to my heart is a trans guy who is an intersectional feminist. He stood by me when all my other LGBT friends left. He said it was because he knows my heart. Aw,
that's
awesome.
I love that. I still have a few SJW friends who have also stood by me, which is, you know, any day I because I know how powerful that belief system is. I'm always like, well, yeah. Any day now that person may decide not to anymore. But
that's the thing with a lot of them, is
but that's amazing, the ones who do.
Yeah, that's the thing with a lot of them. It just sometimes feels with some of them that they're your friend, and then they just like wake up one day and they're suddenly mad about it, which I think is usually because somebody said something to them.
Right. Or
how can you know that person? Because with my friend, who was like my best friend for years, he came on my channel, not a political show. We just did a fun stream together. Never spoke to me again because someone clearly said something like, how do you know that person? Yeah.
See, again, those people are weeding themselves out of your garden so that you can grow more beautiful, hardy flowers that are going to last. Is this a bad analogy? They are making room for other people in your life. Think of it that way.
Yeah, but it just feels like, here's the thing, is like, a friend of mine said to me today, they're like, is this really most people who support burning shit and support all this crazy shit? And it is not most people, because immediately it's not all conservatives, and it's also not all liberals. So that's got to be almost 3/4 of the population that don't believe in this shit. But the people, so many of the people who don't are just so cowardly and will either say nothing or will pretend and just go along with it. Yeah. So I do think that, like, as much as here's what I was worried about in doing this stream is I don't at all want to discourage people from coming forward, because obviously that would be a horrible thing. So, you know, there are upsides to it, which we can talk about more. But can
I talk about some of those?
Please do.
Because I also want to inspire you, because I know you're in a bit of a doubtful place right now. Speaking truth is something that I wouldn't trade it for anything. And has it just like with anybody who speaks up, and even in small ways, you're going to make sacrifices when you do that. Job opportunities, friendship circles, social circles, in some cases, your privacy and your personal security, like Mikey, who's been doxxed. But there's something so peaceful about knowing that what I say, the words that I speak are my words, and that I put thought into them, and that I don't say things casually, and I don't repeat things without thinking about them. And I have a peace that I never had as an SJW, because as an SJW, you're speaking everyone else's words. You're learning all the magic.
And you don't even know you are. You don't even know you are.
And you haven't fully thought them through. That's how they can say ridiculous things like silence is violence, which they don't even believe. But they could say it.
I told you Maddie is hilarious. Maddie said, what? Did the orgy lady dox Mike? Do you remember the orgy lady?
I don't. Who's that?
I think it's just become like an inside joke with all people who follow me. So there was, this was forever ago, this woman, this like miserable old lady, like friend requested me.
Yes.
She friend requested me on Facebook. Yeah. And then I get like an hour later, I get a long thing from her, and she's like, I am a religious woman and I do not need to know about all the orgies that you're going to, so I will be unfriending you. I'm like, bitch, what fucking orgies am I going? You see how many people fucking want me? Like, I wish.
I was about to say.
No, not I wish, because like I'm super vanilla. I'm like not into that. But I
was going to say, you seem like the least likely candidate to be going to
Thanks,
me.
Keri.
Just because I know you. That's a compliment.
No, I know. I'm kidding. Juana, thank you so much. Juana, you're the best, and I miss you. We gotta hang out when this shit is over.
Hi, Juana.
Mars is here. I love Mars. Hi Mars. I'm gonna be on his show. You guys should follow him. His podcast YouTube channel is called Transbruh, BRUH.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna be on it next week. And I'm also gonna be on Rosa Dawn's channel tomorrow. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. How the hell have you? So like, you should tell a little bit about your background, because how the hell are you? So you're just the most focused, determined person I know. Like, you never waver. It seems like you never worry about any of this shit. And I know you've had plenty of it happen.
I definitely.
Oh, hey, Alec is here too.
Hi, Alec.
Other Transbruh co-host.
I have anxiety, just like any human. I had someone in a local Facebook group in my community post like a character assassination of me last week, and they blocked me from the group, so they did not allow me to reply to it. And
I saw that.
I had some anxiety about that, but at the same time, it doesn't scare me, because I made it so that I can say what I want to say. I don't want to belittle any of the fears that people have, because they're real fears. You know, Carter and I both kind of left the careers that we had so that we could talk about what we want to talk about. I knew, you know, I closed my company, and I felt very free when I did, because then I felt I have to say all these things that had been weighing on me. Part of my fear was about losing my clients, about the company going under, about, you know, I wouldn't be able to work. I had built a career. So for anybody who doesn't know, I built a career as a comedy manager and producer, and I produced a television show producer. I produced a late night show called Totally Biased on FX, and with one of the comedians.
So you were in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think of it as the first
of it.
SJW comedy show. I was full on. I represented comedian. Not all of the comics I represented were loud vocal SJWs, but most of them were. And I used comedy to push my ideology. I very much saw, it wasn't just that I enjoyed laughter, which I always have, but it was that I thought laughter could be, and it can be, used to push a belief system. And so I worked with comedians who were preaching the same stuff that I believed in for the most part. And once my beliefs started changing, I mean, think about that. I had built a reputation as the feminist. People knew me as the feminist manager. I was on the board of a lot of different SJW organizations, racial justice organizations, women's groups. I partnered with places like the HRC, Planned Parenthood. I brought them in and partnered with them for tours with my clients. So I worked with a lot of people a lot of SJWs who were in the nonprofit world, who were in academia, who were in journalism. Had a good relationships with a lot of SJW journalists who would write favorable articles about my SJW comedians. But this had been my whole life's work. And so when I started, and I was very vocal, and when I started changing my beliefs, my biggest fear was related to work, as it is for a lot of people. It's the reason a lot of people don't speak. And I ultimately got to a place where I realized I don't even I can't enjoy what I'm doing anymore anyway, if it is pushing this belief system. And I was holding back all this stuff I wanted to say that I felt was so important. Like you said, when I asked you, why are you in this? Because this ideology is wrong. Yeah. And it got to where I felt like I could not.
It's making everyone hate each other.
It makes everyone hate each other. Its ends are ultimately destructive. It's evil. It's racist. It's sexist. You know why it's evil? Because it takes people like me. For 20 years, it takes people like me who want to do good. There are so many people. This is why there are so many people in the SJW belief system who have good intentions. There are a lot with bad intentions. But
yes, they are.
Yes, but there are a lot with good intentions. And those people, it takes those people and it turns them into mouthpieces for the very things that they fundamentally really oppose.
Yes.
And
it's like you're protesting policing and vote for Joe Biden, who's one of the architects of mass incarceration and the war on drugs.
Right. But just on a fundamental level, it gets people who oppose racism and sexism, it turns them into preachers for racism and sexism. And that's why I call it evil, because the way it uses people and the way it turns them into tools. And I was a tool.
I'm still a tool.
I'm still a tool in some ways. So when I left that,
I'm sorry, 1 second. I think my roommate got locked out. He's like, I'm just gonna open the door real quick. Vamp for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Vamp. Okay. Hi guys. I imagine. Let me see if I can check out the chats. I imagine there are some people here who I know. Some other people. Eckhart Tolle is here. Eckhart Tolle. That is a hilarious name. We mentioned Eckhart Tolle earlier. Perform for us. No, I don't think I can perform. What I was saying to Mikey though, I've got to get out of chat. It makes me too distracted. I was just going to say that when I started speaking my mind, that's when I became more peaceful, because I'm not worried about. I was just saying, when I finally started speaking my mind, I felt more authentically like myself, and I'm not I also became this sort of coincided with a change in my spiritual beliefs. I became very, at the same time that I was leaving my SJW ideology, I became very concerned with whether or not we have souls. I remember being at the gym and being so distracted by this question, going to the bathroom and texting a friend, like, do you think we have souls? Like, I was just really like,
you've always been Keri, no matter what.
Like trying to, and that was the very beginning of me kind of going on this spiritual path, which makes sense to me, because for a long time, SJW ideology, for me anyway, functioned as a religion. It was my faith. So if I try and step outside of my own life and see maybe what I was doing, is I think I was filling what some people call my God hole with this belief.
Oh, sorry, that sounded gross.
Sorry. The hole that only God can. And never mind.
Ooh, baby.
No. I think I was trying
to. Your boyfriend's gonna be like, I didn't know my name was God.
I think I was trying to fill this hole that only God can fill for me.
Yeah, no, sorry.
And yeah, I was filling it with that belief system. And so if you had told me when I was in SJW that I would believe some of the things I believe now, I definitely became more conservative in some of my personal beliefs, not policy ideas. They try and blur those two things all the time. They also call me a right winger, and I'm like, technically, I mean, I think I've read through it. I'm trying to figure out what I am. I'm pretty sure I'm still liberal, but in terms of how I behave in the world, I guess I've become more conservative.
The different, yeah, I was going to say, like, the difference with me is I've sort of just given up on the word liberal. I do think that's what I am deep down, but I think the word is so intertwined with leftist. By the way, someone said, so what I sort of always do in my live streams is like, I say, if you've made it this far, send us, we'll have like the hashtag of the day. So they said, hashtag Godhole. So if you're watching, I mean, I'm banned from Twitter, but send Keri at least, hashtag Godhole.
I walked right into that. Sorry.
Let's talk about you guys a bit though. So like, tell us like the struggles that you have with this stuff, because it just feels so insurmountable. Is my issue is that it just feels like these people have so much power. Nobody will stand up to them, and this is a big thing with conservatives too. Is I have so many friends who are very well known people on the right, and the right and Republicans don't do jack shit for them. Like, you know, even for example, like somebody mentioned cigarettes and Valentine's. I have to basically build up my own production company just to make that. And I'm doing it for other things, not just to be that show. But conservatives don't fund shit. And it's not just me, it's anything. Like, where is the next Twitter and the next? Conservatives do not fund shit. Meanwhile, leftists for decades have been taking over the universities, taking over Hollywood, taking over culture. And conservatives just sit on their head. They do nothing. They are so goddamn useless.
So I think it does seem very oppressive at times. Just this ideology is coming from all directions, and it has become so mainstream. And this phase that we're in right now, they've used this awful murder, to push it. They've turned, like I said, they've activated all the sleeper cells now. They've really stepped it up to a new phase, I believe. But here's the silver lining on that. Culture, there always tends to be, when something becomes dominant, then there's always going to be this resisting force. And so you see people, conservatives like Paul Joseph Watson, say, you know, being a conservative is the new punk rock. Well, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but I understand what he's trying to say, which is that if you look at Generation Z, there are indications and there are studies that show that Gen Z might end up being the most conservative generation since the greatest generation, because they're reacting against what they're being told they must do, what they must say, what they must listen to.
That's why I think millennials were so liberal, because they grew up with George W. Bush and the religious right and the Dixie Chicks being banned. So, but
yes,
this is that on steroids. So I'm hoping that there will be that for that action, there will be that reaction. But
I also think that, see, with comedy, when I was pushing SJW comedians for most of the time that I was doing it, it was not mainstream. It was still a good old boys club in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying it's not now. It's just that now the good old boys have recognized, oh, we need to sell woke content. So after Totally Biased, which was the show I produced, there was a whole string of SJW comedy shows, and suddenly comedians who had never done SJW material were doing the wokest material possible to get shows.
All of them.
Yeah. And so we're still in that period right now. But comedy, a lot of the good old boys, or the people who run these networks, and they're not true believers. They just go with what's selling. So if we can create a cultural pushback, this is why, another reason I talk, and this is why I like to see comedy from people across the political spectrum, because some of the funniest people I've seen recently, they're not the woke comedians doing the circuits right now and doing the late night shows are not funny. They're all telling the same jokes. It's very boring. They're not making
channel.
It
is every channel.
Clapter.
Yeah.
It's not laughter.
Clapter.
It's clapter. But some of the funniest people I've seen are YouTubers, people like Terrence K. Williams. There's people
Mark
who are
Hughes.
people who are coming up on the internet and who are pushing back. And that's the next wave. That's also why they're trying so hard to throttle channels, to demonetize channels like yours, to keep people from building an audience. because they saw the power of the internet. Look at all the people that they permabanned in the first wave of new media personalities. Paul Joseph Watson, Milo Yiannopoulos, Alex Jones. I don't care what you think about Alex Jones.
And nobody would stick up for them. I'm not a fan. I've never listened to 2 seconds of Alex Jones.
Right.
Like, I don't know anything about him. But I will say there's no way he should be banned because it starts with Alex Jones and it doesn't stay with Alex Jones. Exactly. And this is the problem with the right, because nobody would defend Milo, nobody would defend Alex Jones, nobody would defend Paul Joseph Watson, and they keep nobody will defend me other than you guys and Carlin and Brandon and a couple friends. But
see, now they've changed tactics, Mikey, because now this is why they're banning you on Twitter. Because those people got out of control. And if you're looking at it from the legacy media and from YouTube, this big socials point of view, those people amassed huge followings that were built authentically. They didn't have the backing of anyone. They weren't on a major network. They built bigger audiences than all the late night shows combined. They built huge audiences. And so what did they do? They had to permanently ban them and see if the public would react. And they didn't.
No,
and then, and so now what do they do? Now they throttle channels before they can get that big.
Yep. By the way, Wampet said, I'm a conservative. I don't have much money, but I support things. I just want to be super clear. I did not mean like people like you guys, like us. I mean the deep pockets on the right don't do shit. The Republicans don't do shit. You know, if you have a couple $2 billion and you feel strongly about these things, do something. But they're all just busy making sure that like, oh, we can have open borders, we can have illegal immigration because they save money on their cheap labor. That's what they spend their money on, shit like that. Making sure their taxes are 2% lower, you know? Meanwhile, the radical left is taking over, and in 3 days' time, we went from Black Lives Matter to abolish the police.
Yeah, we're letting the ideology is now running rampant. And I'm remembering 3 years ago when I first started speaking up because of the craziness on college campuses. And I remember those of us who were talking about it back then were told, and there were numerous articles that preached to us and told us that we were making a mountain out of a molehill, that this was just on college campuses, that this wasn't the real world.
The real world is bent to their will.
Yes. And this is what we were talking about, is that you have no idea the power of this ideology. And all of those people who are being indoctrinated into it at colleges are going out. And now you've got indoctrinated little professional SJWs running big social, running entertainment, running meeting, running all of culture. That's what, but again, silver lining.
Opposition as of the moment, no opposition.
A lot of these companies, a lot of the networks, a lot of the production companies, they will change if the culture changes, because they're going to put on what's going to sell. And so our fight, the way I see our fight is we're fighting a culture war. We are at every side. They're making it harder because the big social is censoring people. They're permanently banning you from Twitter before your following gets too big. They're doing what they can do to push down any wrongthink, any content that goes against this dominant culture. But it's a just fight. Like, I don't mind being the what I'm blanking on my metaphors now, but the little dog in the fight. I don't know. It's because
I've just felt like there's no upside in that. Like, they make sure that you can't grow on YouTube. They ban you from Twitter. They, like it. I don't know. But and the thing is, and they've created this image where it's every single channel. So you think that this is really 99.9999999 with the line over it % of the country that feels this way, and we're just being held hostage by this teeny tiny little 1.1% of Nazis and Proud Boys and all that. And it's ridiculous. That's not reality. But this is how they're able to manipulate people and brainwash people through culture.
Well, when was this? It was sometime in the past 6 months. One of the last algorithm changes that YouTube made, I think, has been one of the most devastating, one of the worst ones they've done, which is they announced it. They're promoting legacy media. They're promoting, they call them authoritative sources.
Oh, I know.
So you can look for a video, and I've looked for videos where I have the name, where it's a popular YouTuber like Paul Joseph Watson, who has millions of subscribers. I'll look with the name of the video and Paul Joseph Watson in there, and it will pull up legacy media links first. You'll have to go 6 pages deep sometimes to get to the video you're looking for, because they bury them now.
It just happened to me the other day. No, this happens all the time. I can never find anything more on YouTube that I need. And like, it was something, I forget what it was in particular, but it was one of these videos where they were debunking one of these lies about Trump. I think it was the that they said, oh, he called Nazis good people. So it was the full footage of it, or the disabled reporter debunking that, one of those things. You can literally put in quotes the video title and have to go 10 pages deep. There was one where there was a video that was called something like, "This is the video that changed my mind about Trump." And it shows him from like the 70s and 80s saying the same things he's saying now and being consistent and saying all these positive things that I hadn't heard him say. And I saw this like a year or two ago. You can literally put it in quotes and you will not find it on YouTube. Or a bunch of stuff like that. So that's the thing, is they don't play fair. They rig the outcomes of everything.
But
what's that?
They rig the system. And yeah, Karen says they're more like authoritarian sources. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I even remember funny videos like I was looking for that compilation somebody did of the election night where it was like the song was Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, and it was all the footage put together of the newscasters slowly going from it's in the bag for Clinton to slowly over the course of the night getting more hysterical. Somebody did that really funny video. It went around. It was viral. It's hard to find that video anymore. I'm like, what words do I put in? They buried it so far. If you put in election night, Sugar Plum Fair, you're looking. It's pages of, here's an authoritative clip from MSNBC. Here's from CNN. Here's from I don't want to watch those clips. I'm not looking for legacy media. That's why I'm on YouTube. I don't want to see your legacy media.
Yeah.
Like, give me the original content creators. That's who I'm looking for. That's who built this place.
Yeah. I just want to show this. I just came across that I liked. Steven said it's always a choice between what's expedient and what's right. Some of us are hardwired to choose what's right. I think that's true.
Hey, I want to.
I wish I were. Sorry. No, go on. What were you saying?
I was going to say I want to answer a question from chat too.
Oh, good, please, because I'm trying to I'm really bad at keeping up with it.
Now this is a while. I'd have to scroll to find it, so I'm just gonna. I think it was Mars who said.
By the way, when I went there, I'm gonna go get me a beer.
Okay.
Remember?
Oh! It took me a second.
Elizabeth Warren. I'm gonna get me a beer. And then the husband comes in, and then the husband comes in. Are you enjoying your beer? Do you want a beer? No, you have the beer. Yeah. Look how relatable.
Mars asked a question in chat earlier, and I'm going to paraphrase your question, Mars. It was about how to stay safe in cities where riots are happening, or just in general, how to stay safe. I fully believe here. I was an anomaly when I was in SJW in one way, and that was in that I shot. I grew up around guns. My dad was an Army Ranger. I had hunters in my family. And when I lived in Los Angeles, I joined a firearms school, and I was a handgun instructor for a while. And I was part of a group called Girls Gun Club. I took a lot of SJWs and liberals to the gun range, and they all had a very good time. But anyway, the point of this is,
by the way, I think this was the
question. Yeah. Okay. You want to read it?
Not sure if you both covered this at all, but what are your thoughts as things escalate in liberal cities as far as your own safety? Did you hear about Antifa taking over a part of town in Seattle? Is this something new that happened, or this from a couple months ago, or did it happen again? I think it was Portland. I actually think it was Portland where it happened last time, where they were directing traffic.
Yeah.
Is this? Did it happen again though, and I didn't hear about it?
Sounds like it has, which doesn't surprise me.
No, not at all.
I would just say for home defense, just to have in your home. Think of a gun as like an insurance policy. You don't want to have to use it, but you've got it there in case you need it. And it takes a while, depending on where you live. It's going to take a while. If something happens to you, if somebody's breaking into your home, it's going to take a while for cops to get to you, especially in a time like this where they're otherwise occupied and busy with rioting and looting or whatever's happening in your town. Take a class. If you're a person who's afraid of guns, one of my favorite things was taking people to the range who had a fear of weapons, because it helped mystify it. I'm totally taking you. You're coming to check.
I've never gone. They don't let you here. I a couple of years ago I applied and I got nothing came of it, because in New York they say that you need a reason to get one. And at the time I had a friggin' stalker who had not only had a gun but legally had a gun and was sending me death threats, the gun in his lap, I'm going to find you, I'm going to shoot you, was sending dead animals to my door. So I put that as my reason, rejected. I'm like, what could be more of a reason than that? But let me tell you, this year so far, between the riots, between the lockdowns, everything has really shown me the value of the Second Amendment. Because when I was a leftist, I used to be anti-gun. And then that shifted, but I feel like up until now, I feel like I was sort of just a passive Second Amendment supporter. Like, it wasn't one of my big things that I really cared about all that much. Oh no. This showed me how wrong I was in that. Like,
since this started, I've taken 2 friends to the gun range to shoot and help them pick out the first gun.
Soon.
And it'll be 3. Like, and I had a 4th who asked, and we just haven't been able to go yet. But it is, people are, I think, starting to understand, especially with, you have cities now saying they're going to defund the police, and they're not able to answer the question, well, what happens when someone's breaking into your home? What do you do? It seems to me we're in a very strange place where it's almost as if the SJW left hasn't yet figured out how they're going to do, and they will do it, but they haven't yet figured out the mental gymnastics for saying that there should be no police and also no guns. But anyway, I would, definitely, that's what I would say. Go take a class, learn, demystify it so it doesn't scare you so much. Have it in case you need it. That's one very basic thing I would do. The other thing, Mikey, change your phone number. Like, you've been doxxed.
Yeah, I've had this number since I was like 13, and I love my number.
I know it's sentimental, but dude, you can.
You know what sucks too with this guy? I literally I downloaded an app that shows a different number it gives you a different number, and I almost gave him that number, but I didn't.
Well, I think people, myself included, should take greater care with, just the ways that people get in touch with them, and homes, those cameras now for your house, they're not as expensive as they used to be. But yeah, I think people need to be taking safety precautions. And if it makes you feel more comfortable, in the same way that learning a little bit about a gun and demystifying it for yourself would make you feel more comfortable around guns, the same thing can be said for if you take any type of like karate class or anything, taekwondo, anything that's going to make you feel a little bit more comfortable in your body and not as scared, I guess, being out in the world if something were to happen to you.
Yeah. Something I feel like we should hit on too, as I said in the description, we were going to be talking more about like mental health and stuff. So how the hell do you keep up your that you're just so damn cheerful and focused and like, I don't get it, because I like I legit struggle with this shit.
I have 2 answers. Okay, the first answer is God, and I know I was about to say, anybody in your audience who's not Christian is not going to like this answer, but that's okay. We have people in my audience who are on Unsafe Space who are not Christians, who they tolerate me when I talk about God, just the Christians in our audience tolerate Carter when he talks about atheism. So,
and I'm in between, because I'm not at all religious, but I wouldn't say, but I'm not an atheist. Right. But I actually heard somebody, I forget who it was that said this, but somebody made a really good point that when a society loses religion, it gets replaced by something worse.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is what is happening now.
Peterson talks about that all the time. Nietzsche.
It might have been him.
That's what Nietzsche was talking about when he talked about God being dead. That something will rush in to fill the vacuum. And you know what's filled the vacuum many times over history has been Marxist belief system. This is a form of Marxism, SJW ideology. It's identity politics based Marxism, but it's the same basic idea of as the original. Instead of being about class, about a struggle between classes of people for capital, for money, it's about a struggle between groups of people based on identity, and they're struggling for power. But it's the same belief system. They've just changed around, a few things in it. And anyway,
the thing is, look what the. Oh, I'm sorry. No, go on.
But that's often rushed in to fill the gap. I will say, so I don't mean to be so brief about it, but I feel like, and tolerate this if you guys don't have the same beliefs as me. I felt like there's a verse in the Bible that really stuck out to me when I started off going to a spiritual center for a while. I was going to this center in Los Angeles called Agape. It's huge. They do international services. I still like to watch they call them love streams instead of live streams. Michael Bernard Beckwith is the preacher there. He does a lot of stuff with Oprah. I think he's like Oprah's guru or something. I was going there for a while, which was exactly where I needed to be, because I was not the type of person who ever would have walked into the kind of church I go to now, for example. That was the way I view it, as the way that God pulled me back to him in this interesting path. But the more I followed that path, even though it scared me and the old me would totally be laughing at me, the more peace I have found. And even if you don't believe in God, I think there's a lot of things, like Carter and I talk a lot. We did a whole episode on the 10 Commandments in the Bible where he talked about, even if you don't believe in God and you can look at the Bible as, like Peterson talks about, this is a book of some of the oldest stories known to man. And you can almost think of it as like a type of, the way we pass down information in our DNA. Think of it like that. This is like wisdom DNA, stuff that we've passed down. Why did people tell these stories for so long? Could you look at them as allegories for ways to live? And so I think even if you're not a Christian, you can find value from some of the oldest wisdom that has been passed down on, hey, don't lie. Don't lie is a very important one. And we take these things, it seems like it's common sense, but we take these things for granted. I had to learn how to not lie. I thought I could do things differently.
Yeah.
I went through the ringer because I had to learn how to not lie. Don't murder, don't steal. Like these things that should be common sense, and you shouldn't have to go learn these the hard way. But some of us are stubborn and insist on learning them the hard way. But look, it's all written down there, so you don't have to do that. Anyway.
Oh no, not at all. I would say too, look at the mental health of all the people who buy into this religion. I mean the SJW religion. They are so angry. They are so bitter. They're not happy people. They can't get along with anyone. They have no sense of humor. Like, I don't see one positive from this. And if we all want the same things and we care about, everyone being treated fairly and equally and all that, then why? I don't understand why, if they meant what they say, why it wouldn't be a welcome conversation to have of, hey, this isn't working. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
Because they're not honest.
They're not honest. Being an SJW, I lied all the time, a lot of the time without even realizing it. One big way that SJWs lie is they speak words that are not their own. They speak opinions that are not their own. That's important. That's really important.
I glanced at my phone and I just saw, I won't say his name, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but I actually just got a text from this very well-known black conservative who's like, I totally understand, like, I just want to be loved and I want a boyfriend, and they just all immediately judge me. He's like, I feel like I need to just like leave this shit.
No.
He's like, it keeps seeming like it's less worth it. And that's how I feel too. Yeah, but I mean, I know it is. I know it is worth it. I know it is. But because the thing is, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about, if I were to drop out of this, if you were to drop out of this, that's one more person that they can control. And it's not only just us. It's everyone who, in a small way, relies on us to, that's something that I've actually, with my friends that I do the walkaway events with, we always get to a point where we have to remind each other. Each one of us at different points has had that moment of like, why do we do this? And then when one person says that, we sort of remind the other one, so other people don't have to.
Yeah. But also so more people will. Because what happened to me is when I quit being scared and I started speaking up online, and really it just started with me sharing different news sources and stuff. I saw people started coming to me, like they would come to you, and they would secretly like talk to me like, oh, and they would come out to me. I voted for Trump, or I'm a conservative and people don't know, and I'm a libertarian, I'm a closet libertarian, which is funny. But some of those people, not all of them, but some of them started speaking eventually. The more we talked, they got over their fear. And I think of it as like this. There are several people that helped turn my light on. Jordan Peterson was very influential for me. Yeah. The guy at that spiritual center, Michael Bernard Beckwith, was very influential for me. Eckhart Tolle was, but when your light gets turned on, then you can help turn other people's lights on by talking, just by being authentic.
Then when I do, I just feel so guilty that like, I feel like I'm giving them this curse that they're going to bear now, like I've like more than a couple friends now who I've sort of red pilled, and they call me their vampire daddy because I turned them.
Well, once you see it, you can't go back. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them, this friend of mine, was staying with me for a couple days, and he hated Trump and he hated all this stuff. And I was like, okay, let's talk about that. Tell me all the reasons why. And reason after reason after reason were not true. And I could show him the video. Hey, this is not true. This is not true. And the thing is, I think, especially with the media and with the entire ideology, once you realize one thing, you realize everything. Yeah. Once you realize you've been duped by them once, you start looking at all the other times they lied. You start researching those statistics. You start researching those facts. But when I say I feel guilty because he went home from staying with me and told his SJW girlfriend the new things that he learned, and she immediately broke up with him. So then I feel responsible for this. I feel responsible for all the shit that they're going to get.
But you're making a judgment here. How do you know it wasn't best for him to not be with that woman?
Yeah, I'm sure it was, but
like,
no.
That's you know, how do you weigh those two things? I would much rather have lost my fake SJW friends and be where I'm at now than to still be in fake with people who you don't know, you don't realize are ready to stab you in the back if you change ideology. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you're not better off in a relationship like that. You're not.
I should put with Leah, who I love so much.
Leah.
Mikey, the bravest people run into the storm and not away from it. They may get beaten down for pushing through, but they emerge stronger from it in the end. You've got this, my love. Thank you.
Oh,
she's amazing. That's true. It's just it's hard to remember that, you know.
Oh, Marie said, "What is your second trick for staying strong?"
Oh yeah, I knew you in a second. Sorry, well, wait, that was we had a super chat. I missed it. I'm sorry, Marie. Thank you so much. Keri, what is your second trick for saying? So that's what I almost said, but then you're saying something. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was like, wait, what is the second?
Well, I'll actually give. I'll give.
What's your be like? I don't remember.
No, I would. Well, a couple things. So again, even if you're not a Christian, you don't believe in God, one thing I started trying to do. I heard Jordan Peterson. Again, like I said, he was very influential for me. And one of the things he was talking about was stop lying, or at least stop saying things that you don't believe to be true. And when I started trying, you can try and listen to yourself and hear what you're saying and make sure that what you're saying are your own beliefs. If you keep yourself honest like that, then you don't have all these fears about like, what did I say that I have to remember, or, you know, did I pretend to know something that I don't actually know, to know about something? People do that all the time. They'll be like, oh, do you know this, you know, that movie, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody's like, oh yeah, that movie. And they don't even know. Why not just say, no, I don't know that movie.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? But I mean, I think it's a human condition to appear to be like, oh, like puff yourself up a little bit more, that to claim to know more than you do. When you stop doing that and you become comfortable saying, I don't know, or I don't know enough about that to have an opinion, then you start watching. And he was right. I realized how many times I would just kind of, you know, allow people to think I knew more about a topic than I did, which I think is a form of lying. And it gives you anxiety, because then what if they ask a question about that topic that you don't know the right answer? You know, you don't have to do any of that. You can just tell the truth. You can just say things that you believe to be true, and don't be embarrassed of ignorance. And people respect that. And so that's something you can do, I think. And that gives me peace. That lessens anxiety. Another thing would be what I talked about earlier, like just creating. I am the worst. I don't have a green thumb. I have a black thumb. Everything dies. But I'm planting now.
Oh my God.
I've got a herb garden. My friend is staying with me. She's been living with me for a while during the shutdown. We've done an herb garden. We took an old bathtub that had been in my backyard and turned it into a flower bed. Like, we've been, I'm just like trying to grow things and paint things. And, you know, you have to find something. We have a lot of knitters who watch Unsafe Space. I'm some of them are here today. You love when I say that.
I'm sorry. Whenever Keri says knitters, I got to emphasize the T's there. Knitters.
We have a lot of crochet enthusiasts. But those things are, there's actually a knitting channel, Knit and Nibble. They did a whole book about mental health and knitting and why it's good for mental health. Like, these things help you take time off, get a hobby, do something, create something. You can't just be destroying things all the time. Even if what you're destroying is if you're destroying evil ideologies, great. But you have to be creating something too. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, I something I'm focusing on is I'm like a friggin' slob and a half in my room. I literally once had a roommate who said, "I thought you people were supposed to be clean." So that's something I'm working on. I read Jordan Peterson's book, and I think he was very, very right about that. So I'm really trying to just like clean out my room, throw out a bunch of shit.
Clean out your room.
I just bought a plaque of Jordan Peterson with his arms crossed that says "Clean your room" that I'm gonna hang up. So yeah, I'm going. My roommate's going with me to the hardware store on Monday to like help me pick out paint, and I'm gonna like redecorate my room and make paint and make like a whole little video production area. So I have a little
That's
studio
awesome.
here. So that's
one of the
kind of
best things he said was design your space for what you want to accomplish there, so you actually do it. In other words, in your bedroom, don't put anything in there that's not going to help you sleep. If a TV keeps you awake, you shouldn't have a TV in your bedroom. Your bedroom should be for sleeping and relaxing. Like this, the room I do my podcast in, I call my writing room because I call it that on purpose with intention because I want to write more here. And I designed it so it would feel welcoming, you know.
See,
like,
in New York City, none of us have any friggin' extra rooms. That's for sure.
You gotta come to
There's
Texas.
no writing room. You're lucky if you have a living room.
You could have your writing corner.
My last apartment didn't have a living room or a kitchen. It had a hallway with a little fridge in it and a little stove. It was $1,000 a month.
My contemplation hallway.
Yeah.
Mikey, I love you.
I love you. Thank you so much. Like, you're such a good friend.
I admire what you're doing, and everybody has like moments of doubt, and I have them. I'm not very good at calling friends when I'm very sad, but I have done that more often lately, and it will pass. You know, there's the whole emotional mind and the logical mind, and your logical mind is telling you sometimes like, yes, I know that emotion feels very big, or self-doubt. And this may not apply to you. Maybe it applies to somebody in the chat, but those feelings of doubt pass.
I don't know. I don't know. Because like I said, I didn't mean that at you. I meant I love you. Thank you so much. And I hope you know you can always call me, you know. But I don't know. Like I said, I just always, in the past, even like always really had trouble relating to most gay guys. And so that was always difficult. So dating was like just always difficult for me. That the vast majority of them, I feel like I have nothing in common with. Which is why the like rare times that I meet someone that I do, I'm like, oh my God, let's go out, you know? So I don't know. I think it's the fact too of like getting older, and like, so now it feels like something that I already was difficult for me, I have added the hardest thing to be in the world right now in terms of social pressure and all that.
You are such a baby.
Top of that.
Not in a bad way.
I'm 70.
No.
I think it's just the fact of like, I don't know, like I've only had one relationship ever where he like literally gave me a ring because he was like, I want to be with you forever. And then one day as we're walking down the street out of nowhere, he goes, so I realized I was lying the whole time. I never loved you. I was just pretending to. So like that's the only relationship that I've had to compare anything to. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to be one of those people who like, I don't want to be one of those people who like, you know, the kids will walk by and be like, oh, don't go there. That house is haunted. The old man and his mean dog will bite you. But like, that's sad to me.
I'm sorry, it's funny to me. I'm just picturing you. I'm just picturing you with it. Get off
don't
my lawn.
Don't say that. Don't picture it. It's terrible. It's sad.
Mikey, I really think you would benefit from, because you said you've never lived anywhere else, right?
No.
I think you would benefit from visiting some other places. Not every place is like New York City.
Yeah, I lived in New Orleans for a month for work, but that got very old after like a week. But I just haven't found anywhere where I would want to live that I've been to. Like, I hate LA with a bloody passion. I hate LA. And in terms of like middle America, you know, as a liberal my whole life, so I've never really been to a lot of middle America. But I'm definitely coming to Texas. The only thing, I just got to figure out what to do with my dog while I go there. That's my one complication, because I was looking at plane tickets and it's like $100 round trip to go to Texas.
I'm not surprised. They're probably having trouble. People are not flying right now, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you would find it really different here.
Hopefully. Yeah. And also the thing is too, like the city, I used to love this city so much, so much. If I would go away for a day, I would miss it. Like, and everything that was once great about this city and everything that was cool and fun and amazing about the city is gone now. It's done. It does not exist anymore.
What do you mean? Because of the
CBG
riots?
No. I mean, for a period of years, CBGB's is gone, and your favorite restaurants are gone, and the culture is gone, and it's just like rich, pissy liberals now, and there's no energy left in the city. It used to be like, you know, you'd go on a walk with a friend and 10 crazy things would happen to you. There's just none of that anymore. And more so than ever now that everyone's wearing masks, everyone looks down at the ground, no one acknowledges each other. You have kids growing up with that being taught, oh, be suspicious of people, hide yourself, hide them. So just look at the phone and people aren't realizing the long-term implications of this shit and how terrifying it is.
Yeah, it does take a psychological effect, a toll on people, I think. And I've relied on people like you and Uana, who's in chat, people who are in New York, to let me know what it's like there, because it is very different there than here. Although I have noticed some small differences here too in the way that people interact when they're wearing the mask. But I think I think it's a lot different there.
Yeah, it's just, I'm so over the city. So yeah, I've never been to Texas. I'm very excited to go to Texas.
Well, we can check off a couple of things we talked about in the podcast. We could do shooting.
Yes.
We didn't talk about barbecue, but we could do that.
Oh, I finally have gotten good at barbecuing. I used to be like very hit or miss, but no, I'm good at it now. I made the best barbecue sauce ever from scratch. Oh my God, I gotta make you ribs. I'm so excited.
You are more than welcome to come cook me ribs.
I forgot to mention, Steven, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you.
Oh,
you guys
hey,
are so
Steven.
sweet.
Thank you, guys.
Let us know if you have any like questions or any things you want us to cover while we do. Yeah, I feel like this is the struggle that every wrong thinker has.
Yeah, and I was going to say earlier, there are people in the chat who I know who've made their own sacrifices to speak and to post and to share their opinions with people in their lives. And, we have a Telegram channel, a Telegram chat for Unsafe Space. And there's a guy, we have people who are telling their stories, and there are people whose jobs are being threatened. I saw Dr. K shared a text from a guy who is a government worker who was saying that if he doesn't take a knee for 8 minutes, he could lose his job. We're things.
Did you say what field he's in?
She didn't. She just works for the government. She was protecting
for the government. Holy shit! That's the thing. This shit is so scary.
I mean, people are struggling with this now, and I want to leave people with this note, and with you with this note, which is, I believe that I am living proof that it is a better thing to speak the truth and to be honest, as honest as you can in your life. And that it's much better than to stay quiet. And certainly it's much better than to say things that are not true or things you haven't really given thought to. And the reasons why I believe that are, I am happier now than I ever was when I was preaching SJW ideology, even though from the outside world's perspective, I was successful. I was producing a late night TV show with Chris Rock. I had, I was making good TV money and lived in Los Angeles and blah, blah, blah. I am much happier now doing what I do because it's authentic, and I have a purpose, and I have peace with my words and with what I say. And I know everyone can't make the same sacrifices, and no one should be expected to at all. But in those little ways, if you feel like you want to say something, if it makes you, Jordan Peterson would say, if it makes you feel weak to stay silent, then you should start to speak. If it doesn't make you feel weak, then that's, but whatever you're doing that makes you feel weak, you should change that. And you can do it in small ways. You don't have to start a podcast channel or whatever. Everybody can add their voice in a different way and to a different degree. And even one-on-one conversations are sometimes the most important conversations you're going to have, where you're speaking truth.
That's really honestly like what I don't want to say that's what I wish I would have done, but like because I never would have had that option anyway. But that's what I would recommend, is do it in your small ways. you know, when friends of mine ask me, should I start a channel? Should I start a podcast? I'm always like, absolutely not, if you value your own mental health. But you can do it in your small ways, in your own circles with, you know, people, you know, I mean, you know, these Facebook friends that a lot of people have, all of them have unfriended me by now, but that most of you have, who will yell at you and get offended. How many of them are you even really friends with? I mean, most of these people, honestly, in your mind, you probably unfriended them the day you met them. So yeah, I think there are definitely like small ways that a lot of people can do this shit. What?
Sorry, I'm just telling Grady. I'll send you the Unsafe Space group.
Oh yeah, Unsafe Spaces on Telegram and a bunch of stuff, and I have the link to subscribe to. I mean, clearly you guys are subscribed to Unsafe Space because you have good taste. So,
well, thank you.
But
oh, actually, YouTube unsubscribed me from my own channel yesterday. Get this. We heard from viewers that they were being unsubscribed, and I was like, really? And then last night I messaged Carter. I have my own personal YouTube account, and that's when I used to comment and stuff. And they had unsubscribed me from Unsafe Space, and it happened to me. So I know for a fact that they are doing it. Isn't that crazy?
No, I know. I've had that happen to me too with a bunch of channels that I follow. There was somebody the other day that I realized they unsubscribed me to. So that's the thing. They just go after this in every way. But I think also it's important for us to be able to be honest and have moments of doubt and whatever, because you know, I've had a lot of people I know who have like bigger followings and shit saying to me that I should like craft some social media image of myself to make myself look good, and I shouldn't say shit like this, and I shouldn't do this, it'll make me look weak. I shouldn't say this, it'll come across like that. That's just not how I roll. That's not me. And I don't know. I don't think that I think it's strength to be honest.
Authentic.
And,
I do too. I think what you're doing is going to help people. So I'm glad you wanted to talk about it again.
Thank you so much. I can't believe you've never been on my channel before.
I know, I've been on your channel. Yay! It's getting dark here. I don't know if you can tell. But it's even later there. I forget you're on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, hopefully I'll be in the Middle Coast with you soon.
The Third Coast, they call it. Yeah.
What have you guys got planned on Unsafe Space?
So this week. So if you guys haven't checked out our channel, we do. So we do a live show on Mondays and Fridays called Coffee Break. That's more of current events, whatever we want to talk about. And then we do another show called Deprogrammed. Deprogrammed is sort of a deep dive into the SJW belief system, into my old ideology. And we have a new episode of Deprogrammed coming out this week. I'm not sure what day. I think it might be tomorrow. But it's we got to interview Yasmin Muhammad.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was great, Mikey. You would love it. She basically, we talked about the similarities and the differences, because she left radical Islam. She was forcibly married to this Al-Qaeda guy. Like she has a book called Unveiled, which we're probably going to do for
amazing
book club. But yeah, so we talked about the similarities between SJW ideology and Islam and the differences, and then why it is that they make such strange bedfellows. And it was I had my mind blown a few times. It was good.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. Juana said, can we talk about how to get Mike back on Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah, if you guys can tweet hashtag free Mike Harlow. My handle, my Twitter name was Mike, or is, I guess, Mikey the Harlow, and make sure you tag Twitter support at Twitter support in that, if you will. You know, I think that, to be honest, I think that's also another thing that has been making me feel shitty, is that not just getting banned, and like during this time when there's more conformity than ever, and what will probably be during the election, that I'll still be banned from Twitter probably. It really sucks. And I think what's really bummed me out is the fact that I know all these big people. You know, I don't know why I do. I don't know how I do. But when it comes to well-known YouTube sort of culture war-y type people who aren't leftists, I kind of know almost all of them. And how many do you see tweeting about it? How many do you see who will mention it? And it's not just tweeting about it or posting about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I saw this the last time when I was banned.
Okay.
Milo said this.
I was going to say right now,
twice now.
People are really distracted though with what's going on right now.
No, it was the same thing as last time though. Like Milo said this, and he was 100% right. When you are banned, you are a leper. So it just sucks that like I lost friends on the left, and now on the non-left, on the right, like suddenly no one returns my calls. Suddenly no one texts me back now that I'm banned. So yeah, so honestly, like my only hope, I have a couple amazing friends like you guys and Brandon and Carlin who like really go to bat for me, but most people won't. So that's kind of that's just another point though about how the right does nothing and doesn't support each other, but we fucking do.
I really do think though, and again, I'm not defending anyone, not saying so, I'm just saying we are inundated with this all the time, and people get inured to it, and they get kind of like, oh well, yeah, he was banned. Well, what can I do? That person's banned. We get used to it, and they rely on us getting used to it and not reacting with outrage.
It's not just talking about it though. It's like it's not the outrage. It's just they literally stop talking to you once you're banned. I see. It's a cowardice thing. It's a fear thing that maybe they'll be next.
I'm sorry, my light is bad here.
That's cool. We should probably start wrapping up soon. Unless anyone has any last question, anything like that. You guys have to watch Unsafe Space. People are saying Houston is really cool. Is that far from you?
Me? I'm sorry. I was looking at chat too. Oh no. I was looking at chat too. Houston is about 2 hours from me.
Oh, maybe we can like make a road trip.
We can go all over Texas. I'm telling you, don't wait till this is over. Come now while things are terrible there.
I want to see if I can get my license or permit or something like that before I go, so we can road trip and shit.
Instead of flying?
No, I'd probably still fly there, but so I can drive while I'm there.
Oh,
can I? I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm super excited. Anyway, though, so what sort of final message do we have to leave people?
Guys, final message for me. If you guys are unfamiliar with our podcast, it's called Unsafe Space. You can go to unsafespace.com and find out more info. And we have a book club, and you can join our book club. And we hope to see you.
What sort of last thing can we leave people with? Like, don't be afraid. Don't be fearful. It sucks. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it's sunshine and rainbows, but the friends that here's the most important point. Every single friend that I had before ditched me. They were worthless. They were good for nothing. And like I just said, there are a lot of people like that on the right too. It's not, there's shitty people on all sides. It's not like any side has a monopoly on good people. But the thing is though, the people now, the few even friends that I have, like Keri and like my friend Joe and so many people who I've met who are so true and so wonderful, like that honestly makes it all worth it. People who wouldn't give two shits what you think, what you say, who you vote for.
It absolutely makes it worth it. I'm telling you, those friends who've weeded themselves from your life, they're opening up space for other people who are going to be better friends if you choose wisely.
It's so mystical. I wish I were more like you. You're mystical.
Mystical. That's funny. I was going to read you a quote.
Mystical Miss Smith.
There's so many good quotes about fear. But you know what? Let me just read you this one. I'm going to leave you with this one. And for those of you who do watch Unsafe Space, I really love this quote, and you may have heard it, but Mikey may not have heard it. So I'm going to read it. This is from the Baha'i faith. I need to learn how to pronounce that. I always get it wrong. But it's Abdul Baha said this. He says, the more difficulties that one sees in the world, the more perfect one becomes. The more you plow and dig the ground, the more fertile it becomes. The more you cut the branches of a tree, the higher and stronger it grows. The more you put the gold in the fire, the purer it becomes. The more you sharpen the steel by grinding, the better it cuts. Therefore, the more sorrows one sees, the more perfect one becomes. That is why in all times the prophets of God have had tribulations and difficulties to withstand. The more often the captain of a ship is in the tempest and difficult sailing, the greater his knowledge becomes. Therefore, I am happy that you have had great tribulations and difficulties. For this, I am very happy that you have had many sorrows. Strange it is that I love you, and still I am happy that you have had sorrows. Anyway,
I love you.
That's how I feel about you, Mikey.
Oh, I love you.
I love you. You have a good night.
Okay,
I can't wait to see you. We're going to do this in person. I'm about to go completely black out here.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the super chats. Like I said, tweet Free Mike Harlow, subscribe to Unsafe Space, follow Keri, follow me on my stuff. I have Patreon, I have all the shit. I'm gonna step up my game with my Patreon shit very soon. I have stuff coming on that like next week. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. This was awesome. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not giving up. This shit very much sucks a lot of the time, but you know what? Here is to sum everything up. To sum everything up, the best way I can put it, the alternative is worse. This sucks. This sucks. The alternative is a million times worse. So
much worse.
So that's that. All right. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We will talk to you soon.
Bye, Mikey. Love you.
Love you guys.